It's 1971. Gas costs 36 cents a gallon. Nixon is president. The average American salary hovers around $10,000 a year. And in the Philadelphia Mint, thousands of freshly struck Lincoln pennies roll off the presses, small copper pieces of American currency destined to jingle in millions of pockets. Nothing seems unusual. Nothing stands out. But deep in that production run, a few coins come out different. They carry no mint mark. To most eyes, they're indistinguishable from the rest. But hidden among them are mistakes. Mine it? Almost invisible variations that would one day ignite one of the most talked-about mysteries in numismatics. How a penny from 1971 could end up commanding a value that dwarfs gold, silver, and even some luxury cars. For decades, these coins circulated quietly. They were tossed into cash registers, dropped between car seats, forgotten in jars. Nobody suspected that a rare subset of them was destined to rewrite coin-collecting history. Fast forward to today. The world of rare coins has exploded. Collectors are hunting for anomalies, and auctions are breaking records. Then it happens. One of these 1971 no-mint-mark Lincoln cent surfaces, not in a museum or a high-end collection, but in an everyday coin roll from a small-town bank. The lucky finder gets it authenticated, sends it to grading, and soon learns it's not just rare, it's nearly flawless. Graded at the highest possible level, this coin sells for a jaw-dropping $417,000 a penny. 1 cent, think about that for a moment. If that doesn't give you chills, check your pulse. Now, you might be wondering, how can a simple 1971 penny reach that kind of value? What makes it so special? To understand, we have to look at how these coins were made, and the unique quirks that separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. In 1971, the U.S. Mint produced Lincoln cents in 3 locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. The coins from Denver carried a small D, those from San Francisco an S, and the Philadelphia coins, well, they had no mint mark at all. So technically, every Philadelphia penny from that year lacks a mint mark. But here's the twist. Only a few of them exhibit a rare error involving the doubling of design elements on the obverse side, the front, where Lincoln's portrait appears. This doubling isn't something you can fake. It occurs when the die, the engraved stamp used to press the design onto the blank coin, shifts ever so slightly during manufacture. As a result, the inscriptions like "Liberty" and "In God We Trust" show subtle but distinct doubling. Under magnification, it's as if the letters are shadowed, split, or vibrating. To the trained eye, it's a signature of a minting accident that shouldn't have happened. Collectors call this variety the 1971 double die, obverse Lincoln cent. And it's this precise error that transforms a 1 cent piece into a treasure worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. But here's where the story takes a turn. Many people have these coins and don't even know it. They sit untouched in old coffee tins, stashed in attic boxes, or mixed into inherited coin collections. Thousands of Americans might be holding on to this rare penny right now, unaware that their pocket change could pay off a house, a car, or their entire retirement. What's even more astonishing is that the market for these coins keeps growing. Collectors are willing to pay extraordinary sums for pristine examples, especially those that have never been in circulation. The demand for rare, error-struck Lincoln cents has become so fierce that grading companies are now flooded with submissions. And with only a handful of verified high-grade specimens known to exist, the value continues to climb. Here's a thought. When was the last time you looked closely at your pennies? Most people don't bother. We overlook them, dismissing them as worthless. Yet those who take the time to learn, to examine, and to recognize opportunity where others see nothing, those are the ones who uncover hidden fortune. It's almost poetic, isn't it? The smallest coin in American currency holding one of the biggest secrets in modern numismatics. But let's not romanticize it too much. There's also fear. Because for every genuine 1971 double die penny, there are hundreds of counterfeits. Some are subtle, crafted to fool even seasoned collectors. And every day, unsuspecting sellers part with their treasure for pennies on the dollar, literally. That's the dark side of the coin world. Greed, deception, and missed opportunity. If you're holding an old collection or sorting through your change, the first step is caution. Don't rush to sell. Don't clean the coin. Don't assume a dealer's first offer is fair. Get it authenticated by a trusted grading company like PCGS or NGC. Condition is everything. A 1971 no-mint-mark penny in poor shape might fetch a few $100s, but one in pristine, uncirculated condition could push well past 6 figures. And who knows? Yours might be the next record breaker. Think about the excitement of that discovery. You're sitting at your kitchen table under a lamp, squinting at a coin with a magnifying glass. You notice something odd. The letters on Liberty seem doubled. Your heart races. You compare it online. It matches the photos perfectly. In that moment, your perspective shifts forever. What you thought was worthless copper suddenly represents freedom, security, and possibility. It's stories like these that inspire millions of Americans to search their old coins. The thrill of the hunt. The idea that buried somewhere in your home could be a relic capable of transforming your financial life. That's not just collecting, it's discovery. And speaking of discovery, here's a quick mental reset. When was the last time you checked your car's cup holder? I'm serious. That's where some of the rarest coins have been found. There's a collector's joke that goes, "A numismatist's treasure map starts at the junk drawer." You might laugh, but history proves it true. The connection between luck, curiosity, and wealth is undeniable. Every rare coin story starts with a simple act: looking. Because fortune doesn't always announce itself. It whispers through the smallest details. Now let's connect this to something deeper. The 1971 penny isn't just a symbol of rarity, it's a metaphor for overlooked value. Just as most people ignore the humble penny, many ignore their own potential. They underestimate the power of attention, persistence, and knowledge. The person who spots that rare doubling is the same kind of person who spots opportunity in life, the investor who sees what others miss, the dreamer who turns curiosity into action. And this is why so many collectors are drawn to coins. Each one tells a story of craftsmanship, error, history, and chance. The 1971 no-mint-mark Lincoln penny encapsulates all of that. It's a reminder that even small things can carry immense worth. Here's a cliffhanger for you, because the story doesn't end here. Experts believe there may still be uncirculated 1971 double-die pennies hidden in private collections or even bank storage. The exact number is unknown, but if another pristine example surfaces, it could easily surpass the current $417,000 record. Imagine being the one to find it. So how do you start? Simple. Begin by learning what to look for. Examine the date, the inscriptions, and Lincoln's eye on the obverse. These are the key areas where doubling appears most clearly. Invest in a magnifying glass or digital microscope. Educate yourself using verified coin resources, not random internet listings. And above all, be patient. Every expert collector started as a curious beginner with a single coin in hand. The more you understand the market, the better you'll recognize genuine value. Rare coins are tangible assets, often outperforming stocks and gold in long-term appreciation. That's why savvy investors are turning to numismatics, not just as a hobby, but as a wealth strategy. A small piece of copper can become a store of legacy wealth passed down for generations. But remember, time is not on your side. The supply of high-grade 1971 no-mint-mark double-die pennies is finite. Once they're found, graded, and bought by private collectors, they disappear from the public market for decades. Each day that passes, the chance of stumbling upon one grows slimmer. So yes, there's urgency. Not panic, but awareness. Because opportunity doesn't linger. It waits for those ready to act. Let this story be your spark. Tonight, after this video, go through your old change jars, your inherited collections, your forgotten coin albums. Take a second look. You might just find history staring back at you in the form of a small copper coin with a secret worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. And when you do, remember this: wealth often hides in the ordinary. The people who discover it aren't the luckiest. They're the most observant. So the next time someone tells you a penny can't change your life, smile and tell them about the 1971 no-mint-mark Lincoln cent. Tell them about the collector who turned a 1-cent coin into nearly $500,000. And most importantly, tell them the truth. Sometimes, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is just knowing where to look. Because in the world of rare coins, Fortunes are made not by chance, but by those who believe that even the smallest treasures are worth finding. Every day, people walk right past small fortunes without realizing it. Maybe you have one sitting in a coffee can or stashed in a childhood coin collection. That's the magic and mystery of the 1978 no-mint-mark Lincoln cent. It's the kind of story that reminds us, sometimes wealth isn't something you earn. It's something you discover. Before we get to how this penny could be worth over $14,000 today, let's rewind to where it all began. Because to understand why this coin is so special, you have to know the story behind how it came to exist in the first place. The year was 1978. The U.S. Mint was producing billions of pennies that year, over 5 billion to be exact. Most were minted in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint had its unique mark, a tiny letter stamped on the front of the coin. D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and typically no mark for Philadelphia. But here's where things get interesting. Philadelphia didn't always leave the space blank intentionally. There were times when mint marks were accidentally omitted or misstruck, leading to extremely rare errors. And one of those rare omissions happened in 1978. At first glance, the 1978 no-mint-mark Lincoln cent looks completely ordinary. The iconic image of Abraham Lincoln still sits proudly on the obverse side, and the Lincoln Memorial stands on the reverse. It's a coin you've probably handled hundreds of times. But the absence of that tiny mint mark transforms it from pocket change into a collector's dream. Now, let's pause for a second. Think about that. You might be sitting on a coin worth hundreds of thousands of dollars and not even know it. That's the fear that grips collectors and casual hobbyists alike, the idea that someone else might find the fortune you overlooked. So what makes this particular penny so valuable? It's not just the missing mint mark, it's the condition, the rarity, and the demand. Only a handful of confirmed 1978 no-mint-mark cents exist in pristine, uncirculated condition. When certified by professional grading services, these coins have fetched staggering sums at auction. One of these coins, graded MS-67 by the Professional Coin Grading Service, sold for a jaw-dropping $414,000. And what's even crazier, collectors believe there may be only a few others of similar quality left in private hands. If that number shocks you, you're not alone. Most people can't imagine a penny being worth more than, well, a penny. But in the world of numismatics, the art and science of collecting coins, condition and rarity can multiply value beyond belief. Now, before you rush to your piggy bank, there's something you should know. Many counterfeiters have tried to imitate this coin. Some remove the mint mark manually, hoping to fool unsuspecting buyers. But experts can spot the difference instantly. Real 1978 no-mint mark cents were struck without the mark from the very beginning. The surface is perfectly smooth, no trace of alteration. So if you think you found one, never clean it or scratch it. Doing so could destroy thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in value. Here's a quick mental exercise. Humor me for a second. Think about how often you've tossed pennies aside. Maybe you've swept them off the counter, ignored them in your car, or left them in the tip jar. What if one of those little copper coins could have paid off your mortgage or funded your dream retirement home on the beach? Suddenly, that worthless penny doesn't seem so worthless anymore, does it? The truth is, these coins are out there. Some are hidden in old change jars, some tucked in bank rolls, and others quietly sitting in family collections passed down through generations. Every year, stories emerge of ordinary people discovering extraordinary coins. Someone cleaning out their father's drawer, a widow going through her late husband's coin albums, a curious kid checking his change from a vending machine. That's all it takes. One moment of curiosity and a lifetime of reward. But let's take a moment to talk about why collectors are willing to pay so much for this specific coin. The 1978 no-mint-mark penny represents more than a simple minting error. It's a symbol of transition in U.S. coinage. The late 1970s were a time when the mint was experimenting with new methods, materials, and equipment. Quality control wasn't as advanced as it is today. As a result, small anomalies like this one slipped through. These anomalies are now a piece of history, capturing a moment when human craftsmanship met mechanical imperfection. And let's face it, people love stories. Collectors aren't just buying metal. They're buying mystery, rarity, and legacy. Owning a coin like the 1978 no-mintmark Lincoln cent is like holding a piece of America's hidden past. It's a tangible reminder that even the smallest object can hold enormous value when time, rarity, and history align. Now here's the part that really makes your heart race. There are rumors, whispers really, among collectors that a few unreported examples might still be in circulation. Think about that. Somewhere, someone might use a penny worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy a piece of gum. Could that person be you? If that doesn't get your pulse up, I don't know what will. Let's bring this back to you, the viewer who dreams of financial freedom, who believes in the power of opportunity. You might be thinking, all right, I don't have a coin collection. So what does this mean for me? It means that wealth hides in plain sight. It means that the smallest details, the kind most people ignore, can make the biggest difference. Take action. Check your coins. Look for pennies dated 1978 and pay attention to that tiny area just below the date on the front of the coin. If you don't see a mint mark, no D, no S, you might be holding something rare. But don't stop there. Learn how to grade your coins properly. Join a local coin club. Watch auctions and see what collectors are paying for rare finds. Knowledge is your greatest tool in this journey. Here's a quick tip that separates amateurs from pros. Always store your coins in protective holders to prevent scratches and oxidation. Even a minor blemish can reduce the value by tens of thousands of dollars. If you believe you found something special, have it authenticated by the professional coin grading service or the numismatic guarantee company. Their certification transforms curiosity into credibility and credibility into cash. Now let's imagine for a second that you've found one. Picture the scene. You're holding a penny that looks like any other except your hands are trembling. You send it off for grading. Weeks later, the envelope arrives. You open it and there it is. Certified, genuine, mint error. Value estimated at hundreds of thousands of dollars. What would that moment feel like? Relief? Excitement? Vindication? That's not just money, that's freedom. The kind of financial shift that turns dreams into plans and someday into today. But here's the catch. Opportunities like this don't wait. Coins get found. Markets change. Collectors move on to new treasures. The longer you wait, the smaller the window gets. That's why the time to act is now. You don't have to be an expert to start. You just have to be curious enough to look. Because history has shown again and again that fortune favors the observant. Now, let me share something that might surprise you. Some people who found these coins didn't even realize their value until years later. They had them tucked away, forgotten, collecting dust. When they finally got them appraised, the results were life-changing. One collector reportedly bought a small batch of 1970s-era pennies at a yard sale for a few dollars. Among them was a 1978 no-mintmark Lincoln cent in mint condition. That single coin sold for nearly $500,000. Talk about a return on investment. That's why this story isn't just about coins. It's about awareness, patience, and persistence. It's about training your eyes to see value where others see none. Maybe you've been searching for a breakthrough, financial, emotional, or even spiritual. Maybe you've been wondering when your moment will come. Well, sometimes it comes disguised as a penny. You see, the story of the 1978 no-mintmark penny isn't just a collector's tale. It's a metaphor. It reminds us that the world's greatest treasures often hide behind ordinary appearances. That the difference between rich and poor, between success and mediocrity, is often the ability to notice what others overlook. And maybe, just maybe, that ability lies within you. So, the next time you see a penny glinting on the sidewalk, don't walk past it. Pick it up, look closely. Pay attention, because that small act of curiosity could lead you to something extraordinary. In the end, the 1978 no-mintmark Lincoln cent is more than a rare coin. It's a symbol of possibility, a reminder that fortune doesn't always shout. It whispers, and those who listen, those who look, those who believe, are the ones who find it. So here's your challenge. Tonight, go through your change. Open that old jar, dust off that shoebox, check those bank rolls. You might just hold a piece of American history and the key to your next chapter of wealth, because hidden treasures don't reveal themselves to the impatient. They reward the curious, the persistent, and the hopeful. That's the beauty of stories like this one. A single penny, worth 1 cent to most, can be worth $14,000 to someone who knows what to look for. And if that doesn't make you look at your spare change differently tonight, nothing will. Sometimes, the path to a wealthy life doesn't start with a big investment. It starts with paying attention to the smallest details. So go ahead, start looking. Your fortune might already be in your hands. You're cleaning out an old coin jar, running your fingers through copper and zinc, when something catches your eye. It looks just like every other penny, Lincoln's familiar profile, the date 1980, but something feels different. There's no little letter under the date, no D for Denver, no S for San Francisco, just a clean blank space. You shrug, toss it back, thinking it's nothing special. But that tiny missing mark could be the key to life-changing wealth. The story of this mysterious 1980 no-mint-mark penny begins with a minting error so rare that experts still debate how it happened. In 1980, the U.S. Mint was striking billions of Lincoln cents. Most were produced in Philadelphia, but for the first time in history, Philadelphia began using a P mint mark on certain coins. However, a small batch of pennies escaped the mint without any mark at all, coins that shouldn't exist. These rare survivors slipped quietly into circulation, disguised as pocket change. Now think about that for a second. How many times have you handed a penny to a cashier, dropped one in a tip jar, or ignored it lying on the sidewalk? We've all been guilty of that. But for someone out there, that tossed-aside penny could have been worth over $400,000. The fear of missing out on something that valuable, that's what drives collectors crazy. Because if one person found a $411,000 coin, what's stopping you from finding one too? So why is this particular penny so valuable? It all comes down to rarity, condition, and demand. The coin market thrives on mistakes, the beautiful accidents of history. When a coin like this appears, collectors swarm like gold prospectors who just heard there's treasure in the hills. The 1980 no-mint-mark penny is a perfect storm, a minting error from a transitional year. Almost no surviving examples in pristine condition, and a market hungry for copper-era Lincoln cents. And here's the exciting part. Values are still rising. In recent auctions, high-grade examples have fetched more than luxury cars. Lower-grade versions, while not in the millions, can still sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. The current market valuation for a gem-quality 1980 no-mint-mark Lincoln penny stands at $411,000. But experts predict that if another is discovered in mint state condition, it could break $500,000. At this point, you might be asking, okay, how do I know if I have one? Great question. First, grab your pennies, yes, all of them. Look for the year 1980. Then, check just below the date. If there's no mint mark, no little D or S, you might have something. But don't rush to conclusions. Millions of 1980 pennies came from Philadelphia, and most were supposed to lack a mint mark. What sets this rare version apart is its striking details, weight, and metal composition. Some of the rarest examples were struck on transitional planchets, meaning they were accidentally made with the wrong metal blanks during the copper-to-zinc changeover. Period. These transitional errors are the holy grail of coin collecting. Imagine a penny that's half copper, half zinc, something that technically shouldn't exist. They shimmer slightly differently under light. The surface looks richer, the strike sharper. These are the details coin experts use to separate fortune from fiction. But here's the twist. Many people who've found these coins didn't even realize their value until years later. One man discovered his 1980 no-mint-mark penny at the bottom of an old coffee can in his garage. Another found hers while going through her late father's coin collection. They both thought they had junk, until a local coin dealer nearly fainted when he saw what they'd brought in. Imagine that moment, your hands shaking, your heart racing as someone tells you that a 1-cent coin you've had for decades could pay off your mortgage, buy you a luxury car, or secure your retirement. That's not just luck. That's destiny meeting opportunity. But before you start digging through your couch cushions, there's a catch, and it's a big one. The coin market is filled with misinformation, counterfeits, and false hope. For every genuine error coin, there are hundreds of fakes. That's why authentication is key. Never sell or even list a rare coin before having it. Professionally graded by services like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can Multiply your coin's value tenfold, and here's a tip that most new collectors don't know. Condition matters more than anything. A coin in uncirculated or mint state condition, no scratches, no wear, can skyrocket in value. Even one fingerprint can cut that value in half. So if you think you found something special, handle it with gloves. Store it in a protective sleeve. Treat it like the treasure it might be. Now, let's address a question that trips people up. Why are some pennies worth millions while others are barely worth face value? The answer lies in supply and demand. The coin market, like real estate or art, is driven by rarity and desire. When a specific coin gets media attention or breaks a record sale, collectors rush to find another, driving prices even higher. It's not just metal, it's history, scarcity, and human emotion wrapped into one tiny object. Think about it. Every coin tells a story. The 1980 no-mintmark penny tells a story of transition, of change, of human error during a pivotal moment in U.S. minting history. It's a reminder that even in something as common as pocket change, there can be hidden value waiting for someone with the eyes to see it. Now, if you've made it this far, let me ask, when was the last time you checked your coins? Not just glanced at them, but really looked. Because while you're watching this, someone out there might be holding their future fortune without realizing it. The difference between their story and yours could be one small action, taking a closer look. Let's play with perspective for a moment. Imagine standing at an auction. The room is silent. The auctioneer holds up a tiny copper coin. Bidding starts at $50,000, then $100,000, $200,000. A collector from New York raises a paddle. Another from California joins in. The numbers climb until the final bid hits $411,000. The hammer falls. Applause breaks out, all for a penny. 1 cent that became a symbol of possibility. And maybe that's the true power of these coins. They remind us that value can hide in plain sight. That wealth isn't always about what you earn, but about what you notice. The 1980 no-mintmark Lincoln penny teaches us to look closer, to stay curious, to never underestimate the small things. Of course, some of you might be skeptical. You might be thinking, it's just a penny. Come on! But that's the beauty of it. The greatest discoveries often start with disbelief. The Wright brothers were laughed at. Bitcoin was dismissed as a joke. And yet here we are. Sometimes the smallest things carry the biggest potential. But time is not on your side. Every year that passes, more rare coins are found, sold, or locked away in private collections, never to be seen again. The window of opportunity is closing. If you want to uncover the fortune that might be hiding in your pocket, the time to act is now. Start by gathering every penny you have from before 1982, when the metal composition changed from 95% copper to mostly zinc. Copper pennies are heavier, and collectors prefer them. Then, research each one carefully. Look for misstrikes, double dies, and of course missing mint marks. When in doubt, take it to a professional. Even if you don't find the legendary 1980 no-mintmark penny, you might still stumble upon something valuable. There are 1972 double dies, 1992 close AM errors, and 1943 copper cents worth tens of thousands. And if you do find the right coin, imagine the transformation. Picture yourself walking into that auction room, watching the numbers climb. Picture paying off your debts, buying your dream home, or retiring early. All because you decided to look closer at something everyone else ignored. That's not just a story about money. It's a story about awareness, persistence, and seizing opportunity. The 1980 no-mintmark penny is more than a collector's item. It's a reminder that hidden treasures exist everywhere, sometimes right in our hands. So before you leave today, make yourself a promise. Go through your coins. Open those dusty jars, those boxes in the attic, that old coffee can in the garage. You never know what you'll find. Because the next headline that reads, Rare 1980 no-mintmark penny sells for over $400,000 could be about you. The question is, will you let it slip away, or will you be the one who finally cashes in on the opportunity everyone else overlooked? Take a second to look at the pennies in your hand. They're small, unassuming, familiar. But within them lies a simple truth. Wealth is not always earned, it's discovered. And sometimes it starts with just 1 cent, because the next fortune might not come from Wall Street or Silicon Valley. It might come from your pocket. And the only thing standing between you and that discovery is curiosity. So what are you waiting for? Go check your coins. The next $1,000,000 penny could be waiting for you right now. Before you brush it off as too good to be true, stay with me until the end because this story might just change the way you look at every coin in your wallet. You'll understand how a simple mistake from the U.S. Mint turned a 1-cent coin into a national treasure, why collectors are willing to pay over $400,000 for it, and how to find out if you might already own one. Let's begin with a question. When was the last time you actually looked closely at a penny? Most people haven't. Pennies are the forgotten soldiers of American currency, tossed into drawers, jars, and car cup holders. But behind their humble surface lies a world of rarity, hidden errors, and unimaginable value. In 2005, something remarkable happened inside the U.S. Mint. As millions of Lincoln cents rolled off the presses in Denver and Philadelphia, a small batch was struck without the mint mark that identifies its origin. No D, no P, just a clean, blank space beneath the year. And that tiny absence created a modern legend in numismatics. At first glance, it looked just like any other penny. Copper-colored, worn edges. Lincoln's familiar profile. But that missing mint mark changed everything. You see, mint marks are the fingerprints of coins. They tell collectors where a coin was born. Philadelphia, Denver, San Francisco. Without one, the coin becomes an anomaly, a rare mistake that defies its own system. And in the world of coin collecting, mistakes are worth gold. Now you might be wondering, how could the Mint, an institution that's been producing coins for over 230 years, make such a blunder? The answer lies in the intricate and high-speed process of minting itself. When dies are swapped, repolished, or replaced, there's a small window where a die might not receive its mint mark before striking the blanks. The result? A coin that technically shouldn't exist. And those few surviving 2005 no-mintmark Lincoln cents became the holy grail for modern collectors. But here's where the story gets even more interesting. For years, these coins circulated unnoticed, sitting in cash registers, passed through vending machines, forgotten in tip jars. Then coin enthusiasts began spotting anomalies. A missing mint mark here, an unusual luster there. Word spread. Forums buzzed. Dealers debated authenticity. And suddenly, what was once pocket change became the subject of national fascination. Let's pause for a second. What would you do if you discovered one of these pennies in your change right now? Would you rush to an appraiser, frame it on your wall, or post it online? Here's a fun thought. Somewhere, someone probably already spent a fortune on a morning coffee, using a coin worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. The excitement surrounding the 2005 no-mintmark penny isn't just about money. It's about discovery, history, and the thrill of the hunt. It's the modern-day treasure hunt for ordinary Americans, a chance for anyone, regardless of background, to uncover something extraordinary. So how does a 1-cent coin become worth $401,000? The answer lies in 3 key factors: rarity, condition, and demand. First, rarity. Only a handful of these no-mintmark 2005 Lincoln cents have ever been verified. That scarcity alone drives collectors wild. In a market flooded with billions of common coins, rarity is king. If you hold one of these in pristine condition, you possess something only a few people on Earth can claim. Second, condition. Grading matters more than you think. A coin in uncirculated or mint state condition can multiply its value hundreds of times over. Even the smallest scratch or discoloration can reduce its worth dramatically. Collectors look for sharp details in Lincoln's beard, clear lettering, and a flawless sheen. If you're lucky enough to have one that's never been spent, still shining as it did the day it was struck, you could be looking at a life-changing payout. And finally, demand. The coin market is driven by emotion as much as economics. Collectors chase stories, not just metal. They want the impossible, the misprint, the oddity, the error that slipped through the cracks. The 2005 no-mintmark penny represents a perfect storm of those elements. That's why its market value recently skyrocketed to over $401,000 at auction, leaving even seasoned experts stunned. But here's the catch. For every rare coin discovered, there are countless imitations. Some are clever forgeries, others are simply misunderstood common coins. And that's where many hopeful finders fall into a trap. Not every penny without a visible mint mark is valuable. In fact, the Philadelphia Mint traditionally didn't use mint marks for many years, which confuses beginners. The 2005 version, however, is special because it defies that rule entirely. This is where expertise and careful examination become essential. Certified grading services like PCGS or NGC can confirm authenticity, and their certification alone can turn an uncertain find into a verifiable fortune. So, if you suspect you have a 2005 penny without a mint mark, don't clean it, don't polish it. That could destroy its value. Instead, store it safely, handle it carefully, and get it professionally appraised. Now let's address something most people overlook: timing. The coin market is like the stock market. Values fluctuate based on demand, rarity discoveries, and collector trends. Right now, we're in a golden age for rare coins. Millennials and Gen Xers are rediscovering numismatics, fueled by nostalgia and the thrill of quick, tangible wealth. That means your rare coins might never be worth more than they are right now, and yet so many people are sitting on treasures they don't even know they have. That's the fear factor. The idea that you could unknowingly give away something priceless. Imagine tossing a jar of old pennies into the Coinstar machine, only to realize later that you exchanged $401,000 for a Starbucks card. It's happened before, more times than you'd believe, but don't let that fear paralyze you. Let it motivate you, because knowledge is what separates ordinary collectors from wealthy ones. Every great coin hunter started with a single discovery, a small glimmer of curiosity that turned into passion, and eventually, profit. Here's a funny question. Why is it always the coins we least expect? The dusty ones at the bottom of your drawer, the one you almost vacuumed up, the one sitting in your kid's piggy bank. Maybe it's poetic justice, life rewarding the observant few who take the time to look closer. So how do you start? First, gather every Lincoln cent you have from 2005. Use a magnifying glass and look closely beneath the date. If you see no D and no P, your heart might just skip a beat. Compare it to verified images online, then consult a trusted appraiser. Even if it turns out to be a different variety, you'll learn something valuable about your coins, and maybe spark a new hobby that could build lasting wealth. Let's talk perspective for a moment. Coins are more than metal. They're artifacts of American history. Each carries the story of the time it was made: wars, economies, presidents, mistakes. And sometimes, those mistakes are the most beautiful part. The 2005 no-mintmark penny is a reminder that imperfection can be priceless. Now imagine this. It's a few months from now. You're sitting at home, coffee in hand, scrolling through an online auction. The headline reads, 2005 no-mintmark Lincoln cent sells for $425,000. Your heart skips. You look at your own collection, and there it is. That same missing mark, the same gleam. That's the moment everything changes. Would you cash in immediately, or hold on to it, watching its value climb? Either choice could open doors, to freedom, to travel, to a new lifestyle built on something as simple as a penny. It sounds impossible, but every millionaire collector began with one moment like that. One discovery. One decision to look twice instead of once. Here's the truth that most people miss. Wealth isn't always about working harder. Sometimes it's about seeing what others overlook. The 2005 no-mintmark penny proves that fortune hides in plain sight. All it takes is curiosity and the courage to act on it. If you've ever dreamed of transforming your collection into real wealth, now is the time. The market is hungry. Collectors are competing. Auction houses are breaking records. And the next big discovery could be sitting right in your pocket. So tonight, before you go to bed, empty that old jar of coins. Spread them out under the light. Look for the date, 2005. Look for the missing mint mark. That's your moment of truth. Because in a world where everyone's chasing digital gold, sometimes the real treasure is made of copper. And when you find it, because someone watching this will, remember this story. Remember that one small coin overlooked by millions changed everything for a few lucky people. It could change everything for you too, so don't wait. Check your change. Check your jars. Check your drawers. The next time someone says, "It's just a penny," smile, because you'll know better. you'll know that even the smallest things can hold the biggest fortunes. And that, my friends, is the secret hiding in plain sight, the 2005 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. A 1-cent miracle worth over $401,000, waiting for someone bold enough, curious enough, and lucky enough to find it. Maybe that someone is you.